Yes, queen. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So welcome back again. Yes. I'm Sylvia.
Yeah.
Natalie.
Kendall.
Delicia Rashad.
What up, player?
And this one we've been talking about body positivity.
Yeah. Positive. Be positive.
Potty positivity.
Body
positivity.
Yeah.
It's a new word. It's potty positivity.
Potty positivity.
She keeps saying,
You tried. Like, she really tried.
all I remember thinking about is Bear Bears on Insecurities.
The Bear Bears?
Bear Bears on
Insecurities
Insecurities.
coming back soon, and I am
So
excited.
No one's going to see me for like a week.
I will. I'll be there watching it with you.
No, you won't. We'll be on vacation. When
Shut up.
So we'll be late.
When does it start again?
August 12th.
12th, right?
That's so stupid. I'm going on this goddamn cruise.
So you gonna miss out?
I'm
vacation.
But that's a day at sea, so I mean.
Oh, okay. So we
But
gonna
it's
all
not
we gonna
gonna
all
be
put it
live.
down.
It's not
you can't
HBO.
download it. This is not.
We gonna figure it out. Anyways, we gonna figure this out.
Oh, but I got it on my phone.
The irony.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, we gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it
We're gonna
out.
stop
Yeah.
talking about insecure and go back to body
positivity.
positivity because
Yes.
we're
No,
not that word
insecure.
player that y'all probably missed.
So, we have a lot to talk about. I'm so excited.
It's been so long
Um,
since we've done this.
I am. And I also want to thank everyone that has like been joining on the campaign and commenting, sharing. I want to thank you ladies for being vulnerable today. As you can tell, I mean, we're a little exposed.
A little more exposed.
Wow.
Just a
Than
little.
usual.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
But it's
See a
really
whole
just to kind of create a space of vulnerability here with us because as we're doing this campaign, like we're all walking through our journey. And so we kind of want to start off with how we define body positivity. And I guess I'm going first because I'm still talking. You know, I'm simple. Body positivity.
That's a lie.
It's
simple.
It's simply
I know you got a lot
having
going
a
on.
positive mindset about your body.
Okay.
And for me, like what that means for me, I guess, like in a practical way, kind of how I got into like where I'm like, you know what, I'm secure in my skin. I was like in Vegas one year, we were really young, and we were like at some pool party, and there was this girl at this pool, and she was bigger, and she had a bikini on, and she was living her life, and I looked around and I was like, you wanna know what? No one's looking at her crazy. Mm-hmm. No one's talking shit. No, and I was like, and she's living her best life, and her bikini was super cute. And I kind of like eventually clicked. I was like, bitch, if you're fat in a one piece, like you're fat in a bikini, so you might as well just wear what you want. Like the one piece, like you know what I mean? It doesn't actually change anything about my body. So it's like you might as well just accept what your body is and then wear what the fuck you want. And like I used to get shit. My mom's like, you really gonna wear a guy with a crop top? I was like, the belly's still there regardless. Like regardless, you know? So I've just learned to kind of just be like accept the skin that I'm in, and not meaning that I can't transform it or anything, but also just saying today this is what my body looks like.
Yeah.
And I try to find, you know, like at least one, you know, like if I ever feel down, I just try to find like, okay, well, what's one thing that you can say positively? Because regardless of how you feel, there should be at least one thing about yourself that you can at least lock into and be like, all right, I have really pretty eyes. If that's all I'm at today, like I have really pretty eyes, and just focus on that, and then you kind of feel. So that's kind of how I define it, is really just being open and accepting of yourself. This is how I guess I defined it. Define it.
So when I laughed at her being simple, that's what I was trying to tell.
That was just a complex definition.
I'm joking.
Simply put, I think she's just saying, you know,
I get
being aware of where you're at and accepting that.
Yeah.
And being okay with it.
It is simple.
I agree with that, and that's like the same thing that how I define it, but also being okay with, okay, this isn't where I want to be, and it's okay to, you know, encourage change.
Yeah.
In whatever aspect that may be. So
I like it.
I think that's really what it comes down to. Hardcore. It's like really just accepting where you're at.
Yeah. Which can be difficult for sure.
Hell yeah.
Listen, living in reality is hard.
God damn. Talk about that.
Talk about
Okay. So living and seeing yourself for who you really are, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like downloading that information is a lot. So, you know.
Like being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like really being honest.
Yeah, it should be hard. That shit ain't easy at all.
pimpin' 80s.
Do you have other definitions of it?
Well, I think definitely along the same lines as Ayana and Alicia. I was telling my friend yesterday that I felt like I literally had to stand in the mirror and say, okay, these are my titties, these are my legs, these are my arms, this is my face, this is my stomach, this is me.
Yeah.
And then just accept that this makes up who I am. And they're the things that make me unique, and they're beautiful in their own way. Like it may not be the same as, you know, the physical features of people that I have admired in the past, but that's them and this is me type of thing. So that's like how I define body positivity. It's just really loving yourself and the things that make you unique, even if they're way unique than everybody else's.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the thing that it reminds me of. So you know how there's always that one person that has to be like, whenever there's like a body positivity post, they're like, but why are you encouraging fat people to stay fat?
That's so weird.
And I'm like, okay, but let's define what we're talking about. Like,
Right.
we're not talking about people being unhealthy. We're just saying love the body that you're in.
Right.
Because you have
So
to.
that like you can make a change if you need to make a change or a desire to make a change with your body. If someone feels comfortable being a bigger size, sorry that that's hard for you.
Right?
And
But
also
guess what?
being skinny isn't healthy. It doesn't mean that you're healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's like the size. Yeah, it's like the size of your body has nothing to do with
Your actual
your
health.
health.
yeah.
And
So
it's
all
also
y'all
like-
who are gonna comment and be like, don't encourage people to keep being fat. We're just encouraging people to be themselves.
And love themselves.
Don't
Love
Yeah.
yourself at every phase.
Yeah.
If someone, for instance, weighs 400 pounds today, are we supposed to be like, you should feel really ashamed and terrible? And it's like, no, they should. If they're 400 pounds, they should love themselves at 400
Right.
pounds.
All 400
And
pounds.
if they desire and if health, all that stuff, then that's their journey. And it's like, how does it really affect you in any way? Like,
Right.
if you don't know this person, is your day stopped because they're 400 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that having that mentality is even helpful for someone. If you were like, oh, I just want people to be healthy, it's like, so how is that healthy for you to like shame someone
Right.
and make them feel bad?
Mental health is also
Yeah,
being healthy.
so
Oh, yeah.
Keep going.
You can chime in.
Chime in.
When I saw that post, the few posts, I got what you guys were saying. We shouldn't encourage quote unquote whatever. I get it, but I think if you look at it from a mental health perspective, if you're telling someone that they're fat, if you're telling someone that they're not beautiful or that they're ugly or that they're not attractive, all these things, most of the time depression can cause
That's true.
weight gain. So
Yeah.
all you're doing is encouraging us to tell them, hey, you're not worth it, you're not beautiful, you're not X, Y, or Z, causing them to now have mental issues, which could then cause them to want to eat more, not take care of themselves more, all these things, because you're not considering mental health. It's not going to the gym it's not a mental thing where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the gym. Like, you have to be in a mindset to be able to go to the gym. I don't care how thin everybody thinks I am, I hate the gym. So at the end of the day, it's a mental thing. You can't just say, hey, you're ugly, you're this, you're this, you're this, and expect them to want to go to the gym the next day. That's just not realistic.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You have to encourage them to love who they are and what they are and how they are. After that, and they work on their mental health portion of it, then they can move forward and saying, okay, where I'm at now is what I may or may not want to be. And like Ayana was saying, then you can choose, hey, okay, I have a healthy mindset about myself. I have a healthy mental state, and at this point in time, now I will move into doing this, this, and this. But you can't get to this section over here without being healthy here, because you're never gonna make the next move. You can't do that. It's impossible. It's a mental thing. So while you're over here telling us to shame everybody, they're not gonna mentally grow any better to be able to help themselves physically, even if that was what they wanted, by the approaches you guys are taking.
Or they'll take really unhealthy approaches.
Yeah.
Like, they'll go to the extremes and that's how we end up with people who are out here running in fucking 100-degree weather with a whole fucking sweatsuit on.
Yeah.
Fucking Martin Lawrence. What the fuck? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Or bulimia.
There's disorders that come from that.
You're not helping. In other words.
I think
You're
you
not-
just
you're
have
part
to
of
be
the problem.
mindful of how you're communicating information. I don't think it's wrong to communicate, hey, it's important to take care of yourself.
Right.
Whatever that looks like to the person. I don't think that's incorrect. I think that the way that you approach it can definitely drastically change the way somebody receives something and then wants to do something with it or doesn't want to do something with it.
Yeah, and there's so much when it goes to that because we can, like, I'm sitting here almost 200 pounds and Sylvia, I don't know how much she weighs, and you look at her
Almost 200 pounds.
and I know, but anyways, but we can look at the physique, right? And I can say that I probably eat healthier and exercise more than Sylvia does, but she has the physique. So if I post something, it's like, oh my God, you're bigger, and it's just like, okay, so she just happens to have a slender physique, and she's unhealthy as fuck.
I'm
So like,
What is that?
you know what I mean? Like, so it's like,
Well, because
she's unhealthy.
they assume
that
They
like
associate
people
fat
with who are fat
unhealthy.
who are just unhealthy, and that's just not.
That's just
true.
how people are shaped. We're not supposed to be shaped the same way.
No,
Get
right,
over it.
Exactly.
get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah.
And another
okay.
thing is I'm also just taller, so it spreads differently on me.
Yeah.
I cheated the system.
And another thing I heard, it can go metaphorically or literally. For the sake of this conversation, literally, what I eat does not make you shit. So
It don't. Wow. Unless we're
That's
human
true.
centipede, and then that's
You know,
That's
mental health is like such a big part of it. Did you guys? I have like body dysmorphia for sure. I know this for sure. Do you guys have body dysmorphia, or do you guys know what that is?
I know what it is. I don't know if I have that. I know that I have a lot of insecurities about my body. Though.
Yeah,
So-
I think I have a lot of unrealistic.
I am freaked out by the fact that you have never actually seen yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you've only seen reflections of
Yeah.
yourself, either by what people have told you or like in a mirror, but you can
Or
never
pictures.
just actually see what you look like.
Yeah.
And so everything about ourselves and like our image and our identity is built up by reflections in our lives. And mine, I don't know why I do this, but like I will look in the mirror and I see someone who is morbidly obese, like big.
Yeah.
And people in my life are like, you're not skinny, but you're not big. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And I remember I'm skinny big. That's true.
I was gonna make she's skig. Wait,
Skiggity skiggity.
She's skiggy.
Hashtag family guy.
I just failed.
I totally forgot where my mind was. But
Body
anyways,
dysmorphia.
body dysmorphia. It was like, I don't know. It's a trip. It's like a really awkward and weird thing to not like. I started journaling about like my body and like where these thoughts about my body came from, and so I started trying to do visualization, which is really just trying to close your eyes and imagine something, right? So I closed my eyes and I tried to imagine myself, like what I looked like, and I couldn't do it. It was just like a black box, like a black rectangle, and so I had to like really deconstruct my own body. Like I literally sat down and wrote down like all the characteristics I loved and hated about myself. And I realized that it was only 43% positive. I even like counted it and calculated it out and gave it a number. It was only 43% positive. And so then I like went through and looked at the things that I thought that were negative, and then I realized a lot of those things are things that I actually have the power to change. Like it wasn't like the shape of my nose or my hair or whatever. It was just, oh, I have like more fat on my belly, or I want my ass to be bigger. But I'm like, you could do squats and you could eat salad. Like,
You could try it.
like, you could try, and then I realized like, oh, I don't actually hate myself and the things that are physically attached to me.
Yeah.
I don't actually hate those things. I just don't like how they look, and I have the power to control how that looks.
Yeah.
And it gave me my power back
Nice.
in a sense of like that I didn't feel powerless when it came to food or whatever. It's like I think people who are really overweight or who have body dysmorphia, or bulimia or anorexia, like it's all about control.
Yeah.
It's all about the things that you can and can't control, and I felt completely out of control with that. So taking like a realistic look at my body helped me, but I'm still in the process. I wanted to show you guys. So I just ordered this bathing suit. I'm going to camp in a week with my kids, and I ordered this bathing suit online because I have to wear a one piece for my job. And all of mine are like slightly revealing because I love my tits. So, so anyways, I ordered this one piece, and it says tacos and tamales because like, this is cute, it'll be fine. So I ordered it, and I thought that it was gonna fit me, guys. Okay? I just want you to see in real life what I ordered and how it like does not fit my body.
It's like so baggy.
Do you see it? Like,
no,
you can
like
put a
it's
whole
person in there. Natalie.
Like it's real.
This is how you see
Wait,
yourself.
but you have to see it from the side.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
this is how much space
having this
like, we need
on
something
alter
light
the
color.
image that you have in your head at
Yes. So this
all.
like
So it's actually just
honestly, when I got this in the mail, it just helped me so much because I was like, I'm actually not. I cannot fill this out. But I looked at the person online and thought, oh yeah, I'm the same size as her. And it was just like one of those things where I was like, you know what?
I need to stop.
I need to stop.
I need to
Like,
stop right
I
now.
need to have like a realistic view of my body, and it goes back to what Kendall was talking about. Like I think you do have to sit in the mirror. You have to sit in the mirror and have some sexy time, and
Naked
actually like see yourself for who you are and accept that.
Yeah.
And love that.
I do that often, naked time. Sometimes I do it in my roommate's room because she has like a full-length mirror. Shout out to Miriam.
Shout out to Miriam.
So random.
But I do, and I just go and I stand naked in her room, and I'm just like, yo, we fly today. And if I'm not feeling fly, then I'm like, we gotta feel fly today. And then earlier, I was back there doing some photos, and the girls were laughing at me because I'm just like prancing around naked, like cleaning, and it's like
she's window Xing.
But
Window
I had actually said, me and Sylvia said, like, she's really in love with her body right now.
Yeah.
Like, that comfortability that you just kept walking out butt-ass naked and you were just, like, stripping off more and more clothes.
Yeah.
It's just, like,
it's so good.
she's just loving herself.
I love being naked. Like, put me at Black's Beach. Put me at a
Going to
quality.
Black's has helped.
Is it not?
Yeah.
You guys
For you
go to
guys who
nude
don't know,
beaches.
Black's Beach is a nude beach.
Yeah.
It's been weird. Lots of old men who like to come and talk to us.
that part is definitely weird. But
And the guy who was jacking off
in
in
the water, yeah.
Dang, y'all.
That part.
He wasn't being slick about it.
That was weird. But Black's Beach, I love it. I have encouraged like my guy friends, girlfriends to go down, and like even just the experience of going to a nude beach is kind of enough for people. But I feel like the first time I went there, even though I already liked being naked, so I was Gucci, the space that was created, because I was like, no, everyone's in their own world. There was like older couples, there were bigger couples, there were fit couples, there was all these different body types just literally chilling naked and like living their best life. And it was so empowering to go down there and be like, no one's worried about me. I just get to go jump in the ocean naked as fuck and like lay around naked. And there's times where we've all gone and it's different. Like I'm usually booty ass naked. Someone might be topless. Someone might, and it's like everyone's at their own level, but it doesn't matter. It's more of just like going there and experiencing like full like vulnerability and openness. And so I encourage people, if you want to go and you live in San Diego, holler at your girl because I love.
Yeah, we'll take a trip.
I love.
You
it.
have to.
We can.
Yes.
Yes, please.
You have to see
course
other
someone's over
people's
for sure.
real bodies.
Yeah, that helps.
Seeing real bodies helps because you're like bombarded with social media all the time, that it helps to like see real bodies, real people.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off of that, like watching porn definitely helped me with accepting my vagina.
Ooh.
I can see that being a thing.
Because you don't see everybody's vagina all
You
the
don't.
time. And I was just kind of like, oh, is my vagina weird? And I started watching porn, more like amateur porn, not like, all the setup. No, because it's not real. And all those girls have like surgeries and stuff done. So it's like
their vaginas.
Yeah.
To be able to accept more amounts of.
No, I mean like the
aesthetic
and
of
like
it.
the aesthetic of it.
The vagina aesthetic.
You know, you see the women who have like the chafe, legs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not the only one.
Okay, so I need to start watching Amateur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, it's a
you're
lot
not watching
better.
Amateur?
No.
It's a lot better too.
Is it?
Oh hell yeah! Because you know it's all consensual, and people are happy.
It's true.
It's important. It's important.
It's very
ethics
important.
behind watching porn.
There's ethics behind
We should
everything.
do. He should
ethics
do the
of
ethics
porn.
of porn.
That would be a long episode.
Yeah, we'll make it after that.
After dark. So how do you feel like messages that you got growing up, like from your family or from your friends, like how do you feel like that shaped your outlook, and what were some of those messages that you?
I was just told that you don't want to look like your dad's side of the family, and they were all bigger. They're all like obese, and so that was. I like to eat. Y'all know I like to eat.
Yeah,
So my mom was always just like, "Oh, well, you can eat like that now because you're young, but you gotta be careful when you get older." And so I was like really trying to be conscientious about how I ate, and I would like go on diets over the summer in high school. I'd be exercising and all kinds
Well, I
of
mean,
weird
exercising is good, but like overdoing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, exercise is good.
And then I got to a point where I was like, I want to gain weight because I wasn't gaining, like I wasn't filling out.
Yeah.
So I was like drinking Ensure shakes and like eating,
Drinking
overeating.
Ensure?
Yeah, drinking Ensure and overeating, trying to gain weight.
Shit. Wow.
Then in college, I took these like diet pills because I was gaining all this weight and I wasn't losing it. And I was dancing like every day, and I was just like, okay, this weight is just gonna keep packing on. Okay.
All right.
So let's try to figure out what we're gonna do here.
Did it go to your booty?
No, I don't know where it was going.
You heard that?
I really didn't like fill out. I feel like womanly until like I was 23. That's when like I started to have like a shape.
I'm still waiting. And I'm
But it was just like, but I was just like, you know, like that was the messages I would get pretty much was like, you don't want to look like your dad's side of the family. And then on top of that, just like when I started getting tattoos and stuff, well, you're just messing up your skin. Your skin's already bad, and you're just like messing up your skin. It's just like, can I cover this shit up then?
Sorry.
Right.
Can I cover?
So let me get a
Yeah,
tattoo.
I grew up definitely in a unique situation because pretty much like my mother is overweight, my sister, but I was getting these messages from my mom like, you're fat, you can't wear that, you can't do this. My aunt, I love her to death. She is like so real, but like so hurtful at the same time. Like she's like the aunt that gives you like the backhanded compliment. Like literally, I've been losing all this weight, and she's just like, "You look good." She's like, "I can finally see your neck, but like your belly." Mind you, my aunt is severely overweight, so it's just like, and then growing up like as a dancer, I will never forget. So when we were younger, like dancing, it's like at that age, you know, everyone's like pretty much like little sticks, you know? And so if you had like a little pudge, it was just like, oh my God, you're a big child. And so I remember when we used to get our, it's so vivid, it's so scary. So we would be sitting in dance class and they would be passing out our like costumes. And they'd be like, okay, you got like a child, and mind you, we're all children. We're like 8, 9, or no, maybe like 10 or 11. And like, they'd be like, okay, you have an adult something. And I'm like,
Oh wow.
why is mine adult? You know what I mean? And it was literally just because it's like, well, it's because you're not like this thin. You're like this thin. Like, you're like this much bigger than like the kids that weigh like 30 pounds, you know? But I just remember hearing like adult and being like, that means I'm really fat. That means I'm like really big. And then being we were all dancers and we know like that world
that
and
pressure,
that is like slim, you know, whatever the dancer's body is supposed to look like. And I just
shout out
remember
to black dance teachers because y'all really helped.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, I remember just feeling like I was so big. I remember feeling, me and Natalie, oh my God, Natalie, do you remember we used to call all of you guys?
We used to call all you guys
fat
obese.
bitches. Yeah, obese bitches.
Fat, obese
And
bitches.
we used to call ourselves skinny bitches. Like, we wouldn't be hanging out, we're like,
Like,
skinny. Like, we were the skinny bitches, and look at these fat bitches. Look at them. Because, and me and Natalie thought we were so big in high school. And then we like started looking up at
We
we
were
were like,
not.
bitch, we was cute
I
as
was
fuck.
a regular sized child. I just happened to be friends with ballerinas.
Literally,
You were a ballerina.
Well, but that's
okay,
what I'm saying.
like
is
it's
that
good. Okay,
I,
it doesn't help for people that don't know
God.
Brittany, but for you guys, imagine being like, okay, well, Brittany, she's tiny,
yeah.
and it's just like, and we were just normal and slightly taller. Me slightly taller.
Yes, I used to always wish that I was like Britney's size.
Yeah.
That I was always fun size, I guess. Like shorter and skinny.
Bite size.
Always shorter and skinny. And it's like for what though?
Yeah, we were
Like
normal.
you really can't control your height.
Yeah.
Like
And then you know what I think was another thing from you and me, Natalie, is that we had huge boobs. Like our
Huge
boobs
tits.
are big. Well, mine are small.
I remember you
Mine
used
are
to wear
smaller
like 2
now.
sports bras.
Oh yeah.
Two
I used to
tank
duct
tops.
tape them
I
down.
remember.
Yeah, I think that was another thing. But I just remember, like, I'll look back at pictures from like high school, and I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? You were not big, like, not big at all. I was a cheerleader. There was all these things, and I always just happened to kind of look to my friends that happened to be like, not even that much smaller. Like when I started to look at them, like they weren't even that fucking smaller. But anyway, my mind was all kinds of fucked up. I think it was always like this weird sense of like getting these negative, like my mom, even to this day, like if she saw me, she's like, you walking around like that? And I'm like, yes I am, Kathy. Yes I am. Because I've had to combat that, and literally it's the craziest thing coming from morbidly obese people. Like telling, you know, I guess it's like, I'm like, honestly, if you guys are in shape, like, I could like accept it more. So it's always been like this weird, like, you're bigger than me, but it's always like commenting on my weight. I'm the black sheep in my family, so I get, you know, talked about for everything. But like with the weight, I'm just like, but let's talk about all of us. Let's all but it definitely played negatively, and then I just kind of had to break out and say, you know, fuck it, I'm fat and I'm fabulous, and
Right.
Wow.
What about you, Kendall, Sylvia?
Yeah, I'm not Sylvia.
Sylvia.
She's looking right in my eye.
Okay, so I think my upbringing was a little weird. My parents never talked about like physical features on anybody at all.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I
Or
think that
could be a good
it
thing.
definitely, my mom especially was really big on like your heart, your education, your mind. Like that was pushed a lot, and that's probably why that's so important to me now. So I would definitely compare myself to a lot of people, but it wasn't because it was coming from like my mom.
yeah.
It was just like, oh, my titties are small, like that, like that type of thing.
Yeah. Little titties matter. Little booties matter.
But you know, that was just me in my head. So, that was it. My mom was really big on like health too. So, I think the messages that I received were pretty positive. It just helped me like push through when I would have feelings of feeling insecure or self-conscious about like something. I remember one time I thought I was ugly when I was little, and I told my mom that. And I was like, Mom, and it's so, I swear I have like identity issues, because I would like think the light-skinned girls in our class were so pretty. And this is still an ongoing conversation. And I'm just like, because I don't look like them. Like, they have this long curly hair, like all this stuff. And my mom was like,
Hey,
I literally feel like I'm so confused.
but you have to understand, like, everyone in my family is brown.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm walking around here, I don't see myself like that. I just don't, unless somebody brings it up. Like, it's literally not something that I think about. So, and I tell my mom this, I'm like, I'm ugly. And then she said, do you think your mom is ugly? Of course I'm not gonna tell my mom that. And I don't. And I was like, no. And she's like, do you think your dad is ugly? No. She's like, well, why would you think that you are ugly like that? So that was probably the only like conversation that we ever had about. Yeah.
right.
So
I love your mother.
I feel like I told my mom I was ugly, and she was just like, well, you don't get it from me. I'm like,
Thanks.
Hey, she was letting you know you ain't gonna call me ugly.
my parents are so quick to disassociate themselves from me. Anything negative, they're like, no, she's not mine.
Don't think
wasn't
that
me.
was no. I ain't ugly, so sorry that you feel that way.
Well.
so I work
Like,
with
what you
kids,
like?
and they'll come to me and they're like, this girl, like the other day, some little girl's like, so and so told me that I was ugly. Like this girl called me ugly, and I looked at her and I was like, are you ugly? And she's like, no. So I was like, well, bump her then. Like,
what are we
and
doing?
then I remember I grabbed her face and I looked at her. I was like, you're beautiful. And like, if you don't feel ugly, then it doesn't matter. Like, if someone wants to call you ugly, who cares? So when my kids come to me, I'm just like, are you that? And if you don't feel that way, bump them. Like, and if you do feel ugly, then it's like, then we can have a talk. But if your answer to me is no, that you don't, stop playing with her. Like, she had an ugly attitude.
I remember like I was saying under your post, like being told that, oh, you're Jay-Z's little sister because of my lips, or oh, are you anorexic because I was super skinny in high school, and it's just like things like that. Yeah, I know I wasn't anorexic, but it's like to think that I was anorexic, that's a mental health issue. Like,
Yeah, you're like, dang.
Just because of me being skinny.
Yeah.
And it was just like
Projecting.
and I'm literally trying to eat to gain weight.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay.
Yeah, the
You
big
guys
thing was.
didn't. You know what's funny is that you guys didn't mention your moms at all, and I feel like my mom was a huge part of like how I look at my body, because she always covered up.
Oh no, my mom was the one who was saying you.
No, that's what I said, my mom.
No, but I mean, like, I think like the way that you guys are explaining your experiences to me is like completely different. Like, you're talking about like what they said to you, and in my mind, I can't remember really my mom talking to me about body image or like saying things to me, but just showing like just watching her and how she would like cover up herself or cover up her body, like that was always or she would say things about herself. She wouldn't say things about
my mom
me.
Never said anything about
she would say things about herself, like I don't like my legs or I don't like my tummy or whatever, and then I would watch her cover it up, and then that's how I
kind of learned.
Yes, I'm just like, I'm over here like, wow, this is interesting, because I never had like those verbal cues.
Yeah,
our moms are a lot different too.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah. I'm just saying
There's
there's different ways
Yeah.
that you take
I don't
in that
think everyone
information.
has like a traditional mom. So,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's different ways that we take in information. Like, I would thought that you guys were going to tell stories about like watching your moms do things, because that was my experience, and we're all talking about what they said, and so I'm just like, wow.
My mom was very
it's cool to
accepting.
it's interesting to hear your guys' stories.
yeah, I mean, from just taking on what you're saying, it's like I couldn't really get those kind of messages from my mom because she wore men's clothes all the time. So her it wasn't a conversation about like, oh, I'm insecure about my body or anything like that. My mom never said anything about her body.
Yeah.
It was, she just dressed how she wanted to dress, and that's how she would express it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to hide anything. Or that wasn't until like later on in life when she explained to me that she was molested, and that's when she started to cover up more. But for her, like wearing men's clothes, that's what she was comfortable in, and so I could say that I took on the notion of like comfortability is a thing.
Yeah.
Your mom was fly back in the day.
She was.
Yes.
You guys.
My mom was low-key fly too, but
My mom was fired. My mom was fired.
your
way
mom
back in the
was
day.
fired, dude.
Also,
mom went to
before
several
Michael, like when my mom was on
It's like
MySpace
the
the other day,
benchmark.
if you
How
see
many
my
moms
Instagram stories, and she had mom jeans on, and she texted us. She screenshotted her MySpace.
I
And
love
she texted us and was like, "Look, mom jeans," and I was like, "Oh God, my mom." But I was like, my mom. I remember she took those star shots because me and Joy took star shots. My mom took star. Listen, one day it's gonna be a book.
Sylvia.
Yeah, Sylvia, I want to hear your story because I feel like
Sylvia,
opposite
still
of
Sylvia
all
over
others.
there?
Still Sylvia.
I honestly didn't talk. My mom didn't talk about bodies, and I kept to myself about my thoughts about bodies. I think the only people I expressed it to was eventually like you guys starting out. It was the first time I started expressing how I felt about myself.
We were probably terrible.
And it wasn't the best experience because they didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I kind of just kept it to myself for a long time.
Where do you feel like you got like maybe like influences about?
You guys.
Wait, no, but explain.
Yeah, but explain, because I feel like we've always given you positive.
6 people.
Well, I didn't get to finish. You started
Go
asking
ahead.
questions.
Go ahead.
And
4.
Okay.
3.
So, my first experience learning about what I look like was from my grandfather, rest his late soul. He told me when we were driving to my cousin's birthday party that my cousin Angelina was just so beautiful. She was just the perfect baby. She had the most beautiful hair and the most beautiful skin and all these things. And then he looked in the mirror at me in the backseat and said, you know, you look like a gorilla when you were born.
what?
I said, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I didn't say, oh, okay. I just looked away. And then my grandmother giggled and just acted like it was okay. So my identity, even to this day, I always say, man, I look like a gorilla when I was born, because that's what I learned. I look like a gorilla when I was born. So to me, I just look like an animal. Not realistically, but that's what I feel like people identify me as. Like, you're this long, tall giraffe. And then people always make references to animals. You're an antelope when you glide across the floor. Or like,
you be
you're a
like a
giraffe.
gazelle.
Or you just live your best life being who knows what. But like, it just...
I said you were a lighthouse.
So
diversity.
I've always been related to an animal, and then we get on all these deep discussions in general, like throughout our lives, especially being with these being my friends, how we all talk about Black history and all these things. We force her into therapeutic conversation. Like, you will be healthy. You will love yourself. You will love yourself. Well, I just felt we talk about the history of Black people and how Black people, and specifically with darker skin, like, we were related to animals.
Yeah,
like they relate to animals, and then on top of that, I'm like, oh, I was always told I was an animal growing up. Like, it's just not a good look. So, like, my view of myself, and I am far behind these ladies, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't have this that you guys have. Like, it's not there for me. Yet. I think that my views on my body, I don't think that anybody's, minus my skin color, and then being told I'm tall, which is relative again, because there's taller people than me.
Yes.
But being told that I'm tall, like, other than those two things, there are probably more, but I'm not really trying to think about all of them. I think besides those two things, I think that most of my interactions with you guys have been positive. They've always tried to encourage me, like, so, but you're tall and luxurious, and I'm just like, that doesn't even make any sense, because you can't be a gorilla and be luxurious. Like, they just don't.
You ain't never seen Tarzan. The mom was fly.
Hella fly.
I don't know. I'm just not where they are.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
No, I'm
It's going to eventually happen, hopefully,
This
but
is shade violence.
I'm not where they are. And I'm not looking for, like, I don't need the compliments, because I've been told the same things. I literally look exactly the same as I did when I was probably, since I've been like 5-6 years old, I've looked the same. Just tall for my height or for my age, skinny, dark skin, nappy hair. Like, nothing's really changed. So I've heard the same thing my whole entire life, and I've heard the same encouragement my entire life. But because I am me, I think that the negative things have definitely clung a little longer, primarily because there are random little comments that will affirm those negative things. But it's not like the other side doesn't happen too, but I think because once again, I'm just me, I hold on to those things that are negative, and I'm just like, I dwell on them. So,
Well, they sting.
Yeah, they are painful.
And they're consistent. Like, I'm 28 years old and I'm still hearing the same things. Like, it's been 28 years and I'm still hearing the same things. So I'm like, there's something about it has to be true. If it's 28 years later and you're still getting the same things.
Yeah, and I think
Also,
people
people are still ignorant.
Yeah, they're really small-minded. People have fully adopted this Eurocentric standard of beauty, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
And so if they haven't done the work in themselves to understand that beauty comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors, they're projecting their ignorance
And their insecurities.
Like, it really is not.
And I think that there's things that, like, maybe you see as negative, like being tall. And it's like, that's almost like, hey, you're choosing to make that a negative thing, not that being tall is negative. So some of it is just a mindset change of, like, there's nothing negative about being tall. In fact, you mentioned there's people that are tall. There are girls that are, like, very, way, way tall, where I'm sure that they've gotten to, like, backlash for their height, where I guess for me, it's kind of, you may need to hear that, like, people are actually like, you're so beautiful and tall, like a model. Like, they're giving you a compliment, but you associate your height with something negative. So you take positive things and you kind of make it negative. So it's like, I think part of it is just like a mindset change. Like, there's nothing wrong with being tall or having nappy hair or whatever. Some of the, I'm not saying everything that people have said are not negative, but some of it, it's like, you have to switch it because you see it as a negative thing, not that.
When it's really a neutral thing. Like, I think Brittany,
neutral. That's a good one.
I've always said, like, I wanted to be short like Brittany, right? But Brittany has always wanted to be tall. Like, and like, height is neutral. It's not positive or negative.
Right.
We're ascribing it that positive or negative thing. So it has to come within ourselves to go, okay, this is neutral. This is where I'm at. And I can't change it. And so I'm going to be okay with, like, wherever I'm at.
What I think I'd like to hear is a tall person say these things, because it's different when it's coming from somebody on the other side.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, but until you're tall and you deal with the struggles of being tall,
Everybody
can say, oh, this or this or this or this, whatever it is.
Well, it's that representation, affirming, like, this is someone who I can see myself in them, and I can see myself in their story, and I can relate to that. So that makes sense that you would want someone.
Because every person that's tall that I've talked with, they have the same things said to them as well. So until you're actually there, I get that you think it feels like it's a mindset change, which it can be. But I think at the same time, unless you're in it, it's hard to always understand how it's hard to change just a mindset when your reality is something different than just your mind.
So maybe the mindset change would need to be, these people are going to continue to say things regardless. So either I can choose.
These things aren't going to change.
Right. So either I can choose to allow them to continue to affect me, or I can choose to love myself in spite of what other people are going to say about me and all other tall people. Yeah. So that could be the shift in perspective. It's like, because at the end of the day, you really do have to make a choice. Am I going to love myself regardless of what society is telling me is wrong with me, even though it's not wrong?
Yeah.
It's neutral.
Yeah. Because we all have to do that mindset change. Like, it's gonna vary from person to person what your issue is. So it's all of us have to look at our issues, what we're dealing with, and say, okay, we're gonna choose to change our mindset about ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't relate. Like, I can't relate to you, and I'm not as tall as you, and I don't have the same experience as you. But the method to get to that is the same.
Right.
The variables are different, but the mindset change is the same.
Accept whatever.
Because people are gonna they're gonna be who they're gonna be.
Right.
You have to be solid for yourself. You can't expect that for the world to be solid for you.
Yeah.
Touche. So like I said in the beginning, remember when I said I am not where they are? Right there.
I'm like,
this is my first point. I am not where they are.
Well, we're gonna pull you, I guess, because you have these friends.
I mean,
we're not gonna let you just sit there. So
come on,
all y'all come
you
with
can
us
continue
too.
to resist though. This is just fun for us.
We're just gonna say this. You beautiful. You cool today?
Yes. Let's switch it up. Let's talk about
what
body image in the bedroom.
Keep it up.
Am I starting that?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay. Well, like I had said before, my vagina was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're children.
We are
children.
vulnerable.
I know. We're
sorry.
being children.
I thought you were gonna say something completely different. That's why it just caught me off guard.
Go ahead.
Your vagina.
I have had insecurities about my vagina. I
Yeah.
was just like, is it weird? I mean, it didn't stop me from having sex, but it was like, okay, we're gonna just keep the lights off.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I started watching porn. The shift was already. Okay. Part of me really doesn't care because I really just like sex. It still was there. Like, I don't like the way that my crotch looks. When we went to the nude beach and you were like, oh, you're gonna take your bottoms off, I was like, oh, I don't think so. Like, I don't. Like, my biggest insecurity has been my skin, like just having even clear skin, and it's like it's not. And so even down in the regions, it's not. I don't think it's pretty. So I just
What,
like.
oh, is it because it's like not one color? Like
Yeah.
not one color.
Yeah. So like just like dealing with like the darker spots on my skin and on my body has been like, it does cross over into the bedroom where I'm just I'm kind of like guys who have small dicks. I'm just like.
Oh, is that what they're out here doing?
Oh hell yeah, they do that.
They're like,
do they really? They crouch. They be like in fetal position. Like,
oh, after.
yeah, when they're growers, not showers.
Oh yeah. You know,
I got love for y'all though.
me too. I got love for you.
Cause it's show be on point. But
That's
yeah,
what
so,
it's all about. The stroking counts.
That's been my experience.
That was a bar. That was a bar.
That was it?
Yeah. That was a
We
bar.
do this.
Yeah. You don't listen to After Dark?
Yeah. That was that confession.
I feel like that's the place that I'm most insecure about my body. Is
What?
the bedroom.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel
don't.
like that's where I think you would be most
No.
secure.
I am like lights off,
Oh my god.
lights out. None of that. You want to know? It's really okay. I hope my aunt's still not watching this live. Actually, if you are, we all know people having sex. What the hell?
What the hell?
It's because I think that my entire family still believes that I'm a virgin. So, guess what, guys? I am in your minds.
In your mind. In your mind.
In your minds, in your hearts. I don't have an ass, and so like imagining like what my ass looks like and someone else having to look at that, I'm like, yo, when you were going to this position, keep your eyes up and forward.
You cannot have rules.
Don't look down.
Don't look
down. Like I won't have.
Look down.
I don't think I've even had sex like in the daytime. I think I try to avoid it at all costs. Or I'm like, put all the blankets over. No, don't look at my little ass. It's not cute. It pucker.
I'm sorry. I got this.
It's like this. You look.
This is her showing.
You can't do this motion. You know why you can't do this? Because last year someone took a picture of me doing yoga, right? And I was like clenching my teeth. So you took a picture of me from behind. So I like saw the picture of my ass and I was like, yeah. And then I like zoomed in on the one part and it was like definitely this. It was that. It was that little pinch at the bottom that you're like.
He was engaged.
No, but the amount of engagement relative to the part that was not engaged was surprising to me. Like it looked like just the tip of my ass was engaged. Like I was just using my bottom ass muscle, and that was it.
It's so sad.
And I was like, wow.
I don't have an ass.
Down.
I don't have an ass, and
God.
so
Be fair.
yeah.
Little booties matter, y'all. Please.
But there have been men that I have allowed to see me. I mean, you know, I'm just like, fuck it. But I've had partners that like are super insecure about their bodies, like no sex with no shirts on, and I'm like,
Yeah, they don't take their socks off.
no socks.
Why don't men take their socks
Yeah, what's
off?
up?
So weird to me.
What is that about? Can someone
gross.
comment?
I'm gonna wear my
Let us
socks.
know.
Why are your socks on?
Is Elliot still
During the
watching?
sex.
Can Elliot let us know?
Elliot!
All of glass. Wait,
He was
Elliot, are you
watching earlier. I don't know if he's
Elliot,
still
why do
watching.
men wear socks? But yeah, and I like so for me, like if the guy doesn't take off their like that was like a when I realized I was like, oh, men are like ashamed of their bodies too, because I was like, it's been multiple, it's not one, but if they get bucky naked, I'm like, let's go.
Bucky naked.
When they get bucky naked, they ready to fuck some shit up.
Yeah. And that's
Okay, we're not gonna go there.
but I would say honestly, that's like where I actually feel most like insecure. Like is in the bedroom. This one guy, he was always like, we should have sex in the shower, and I was like I go in the shower and then we turn the light off and then like that's dangerous. I was like, you cannot be wanting us both to be in here with lights on. And then I did it, and I was like, this is, first of all, it's just really dangerous, and not, the lights are on, but I'm just saying, like, sex in the shower, like,
I don't want
slippery.
Oh,
I don't want to die. I
You
don't want
just
to
gotta,
die.
you
It's
just
worth
gotta
the
get
risk.
the handles.
No,
It's
no,
really-
that's too much.
That
Water
was
my
not
eyes.
too-
Yeah, it's too much.
cold.
But it
Or
was
if you get a
a,
bench.
wow, see, I'm not doing
Bend
all that.
that
It was
ass
terrible.
over.
I feel like those are adult goals.
Bam.
But it was a
Just
big
rip the
thing
side
for
of
me
the
to be
tub?
like, okay, I'm gonna get in the shower
Oh,
with you and like let you see
I love
Timmy's
all this.
speaking
I
of
don't have that
sex, I
shave in my
love
armpits either, so I was kind of feeling like, ooh.
I can't
Give me a
find
confined space and let's try to figure this out. It'd be fun.
Wow.
It's too
Oh
hot.
gosh.
Too much steam.
But yeah, that's my
Ooh.
my
I'd rather have steam than sweat.
I feel like I'm pretty insecure in the bedroom too, especially since I had surgery. I love my boobs, like I really love them, but my nipples are fucked because of my surgery. So I like always, I don't always, but I have like pre-warned people where I've been like, hey, I'm gonna take off my shirt and it's gonna look weird, but I've also had guys then just like be like, they just look like boobs, and so it's
the
like,
nipple's like the accessory.
right,
Like
but
the
my
actual
boob is still
is-
there. So, anyways,
There's
I understand and
Yeah.
relate to that because it's, I don't know, it's like this weird thing I have
And
about
it
myself that
definitely-
other people don't.
I think
Yeah, I
it
don't think
affects
men care
performance
that
too.
much.
No, I don't. They don't.
They really
really
don't,
don't
which is the
care.
funny part.
Well, because they have their own.
Insecurity.
And they're just
Insecurities.
thinking about getting their nuts. They're not thinking about
They're
really
like,
do
"Look,"
it.
they're like, is my dick going to get wet?
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Like you can literally they can have sex with you with a whole sweatsuit on, as long as there's like a whole.
Right? They're like, I don't
good.
care. I'm really here for the.
But then there are guys who actually want you butt ass naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skin
It'd be
is
hot
skin.
sometimes.
Those
Have
are the
you
ones
guys-
who get butt ass naked and they fuck shit up.
Have you guys ever talked to your partners about like their body insecurities?
Yes.
Like, have they ever brought it up?
Yeah, I've had lengthy conversations, and I remember like opening up to them, and I was like, I want you to feel like comfortable because it's like I'm uncomfortable and I'm being vulnerable with you, and so I'm like, can we work toward?
I'm too bossy.
Actually,
towards
one
that
time,
conversation.
it was a conversation, but that's how I found out I had like a mole down there. I didn't even know. But my ex and I, after we had a session, he was just like laid in between my legs, just looking at my vagina, and he was just like, "Oh, like you have a birthmark down here." I'm like, "Oh, I do." Okay.
No one ever just laid after having sex on the
Yeah, that was just like that was probably the only. No,
Goals.
no, I had a conversation about like body insecurities.
But I think too, like,
Wait, what do you mean by you're bossy too? Actually, it's
right?
not-
Okay, so if you don't care, I feel like they also don't care. Like, so I've talked or messed with guys who might have had some insecurities, but
Yeah.
in the moment, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Take your clothes off, like that type of thing. Like,
Kendall's like,
why
it
is your,
will come on.
you know, like,
I've tried to be like, oh, come on, and they're like, no, and I was like, okay, well, I
there's
still
no
want
asking questions.
Well, this is my thing. This is my thing.
weird.
I still want the dick, so I was like, what we're not gonna do is make them not want to have sex. So I was like, you know what? You're a little uncomfortable. Wear your fucking shirt. I'm gonna get fucked. Cause like we can talk about it after. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. It's like, cause
It's fine.
yeah, like I've tried to be like, come on, and they're like, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not gonna push you. Cause I'm just, like I said, still trying to fuck. We will talk about this now.
We
Yeah.
will talk about this.
Hold that thought.
I will therapize you.
But I think it's important though, like to have that communication. I think like the partner that I specifically like had that conversation with, like understanding like why, and also detaching it from it being me, like because I kind of was taking in like, oh, like are you not really like into me
Yeah.
or like I'm, you know what I mean, like. So I've asked them like, so have you taken it off with other people? Because I'm trying to figure like, so are you more into, you know, like intimate with other people, someone else, and you trust them more, and the person's like, no. And then they're like, I've taken the shirt off with you too, and I was like, when? I don't remember. That'd be monumental. When? He was like, it was hot as fuck one time. He was doing it. I was like, I don't remember. Do it again. That was me trying to petition to get some, because you know it's been a while.
Okay.
Okay, relax.
Well, anyone else
About your body positivity of the body
in the
on
bedroom
social
or
media?
the car,
Sex.
the couch?
I
the
forget. I
kitchen?
think just forget about it when you're in the moment. Like, I forget about it.
All right, I'm gonna want you to take that same energy when we go to Black's Beach, and I'm like, forget
That's
about
different.
it.
I'm not.
Keep that same energy.
I feel like those are completely different. This is weird because I feel like those are completely different
Why?
things. People at Black's. Okay, if I am having sex with someone, that is an intimate moment between me and that person. That's not, to me, it's just different scenarios. I feel like.
No, it is, but
I'm like, what is this
She's
whole
saying like just the energy.
I guess the energy of like
not
giving a fuck.
Yeah,
like I guess it's
I
not
go
even
topless every. I don't want my vagina out just 'cause I don't want my vagina out. But I like go topless every single time. I don't like people looking at my body. I don't like attention. So me anticipating that happening is why I don't take my bottoms off. Like, you guys talk about my ass alone.
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I gonna?
But it's beautiful.
Okay, I was gonna say that was something I realized in high school. So in high school, a lot of people used to touch my breasts all the time. And like, it was just like, it was almost like a greeting. Like, people would come up to me and they would like jiggle my tits and like, hey.
I'm super guilty.
And like, I would, at the time, I didn't realize how I was internalizing it.
Yeah.
But now I realize I was internalizing it just as like, I was a pair of boobs. And that's how people knew me. That's how people saw me. That's what people valued about me. And it's so much so that I got a breast reduction. Like, that was, it was, I think people thought what they were doing was positive, but it ended up having a negative effect on me. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that sums it up perfectly.
I'm not gonna talk about your bottom anymore.
You guys love me
a lot of comments to make
on the ends. Make them.
Yeah,
This
make
is
them.
perfect for us.
Please. No, it's not the place to do it.
It's not.
So
Well, I was gonna say the difference between you guys is you guys know me. If I didn't have an ass, you would still love me and probably treat me the same.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference than like somebody that I don't know making a comment about it.
And it's also, I think for me, it's related to how I learned about my body. So it's not even just like a thing that I'm experiencing now as an adult. It's something that's ingrained in my psyche. So whether or not, like, I don't think people's intentions when they were coming up to me were bad. I thought that they were positive, which is why I had a positive reaction to it during, like, when I was in high school. But now I've realized, some of it was positive, but then it also had this kind of negative effect that I didn't see coming until afterwards. So it wasn't until I was older and I started to look back on those memories that I felt that way. Because in the moment, it was like, yeah, I'm fly. But then I was like, then I noticed it was just a compilation of, that's all that I'm fly for, though. Like, that's it. You know, I wasn't fly because I was smart. I wasn't fly because I had a perfect nose. I wasn't fly because of anything else. I was fly because I had big tits.
Tickle.
So I don't know. It's I think that's a good thing to bring up for people, is like being fetishized is not gonna be positive.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess, okay, so let me explain when I'm like saying keep that energy.
So people actually want to be fetishized. So.
Yeah. So I guess this is my real point, is that if you are in a place where someone's saying, going back to Kindle, that you're saying like, fuck it, we're being vulnerable and you should just ignore your
sorry.
Oh, are you here to pick up food?
pick up food?
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys. Sorry. Is that Richard?
Yes.
Oh,
Alright,
hi
well,
Richard.
Natalie's doing this. But anyways, you were saying basically in the bedroom that you're like being bossy and you're just like, fuck it, like we're just doing this, so you should just like almost like fuck your insecurities and your feelings, like I want you to be vulnerable. That's what I'm saying. Like if you call that on someone else, I think that you have to call it back on yourself. Does that make sense?
I do in the bedroom.
She said when this penetration happens, that's when it's okay.
I'm like, I feel like that's, for me, that's
I think
an appropriate forum for me to.
But you're almost saying that it's appropriate for someone to be like, you're really uncomfortable and I don't care because I want you to do this.
I want
so it's like
Wait, say that one more time.
Because you were basically saying that like if someone's like, no, I'm uncomfortable getting naked, you're just like, your attitude is like, why? Like we're about to have sex, why? And so it's like that's why I was just like pointing out. So then it's like if I'm like, well, why are you insecure about that? Why? It's like you can't ask someone to be like vulnerable and ignore their right to say I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's
I don't
definitely
think you
nuanced
think-
a lot differently than how it actually
I think
plays
in your
out.
I think it's more mental.
Because
than
it's
actually
like,
saying it. You
I'm
don't
not
actually say
saying
it to them.
fuck your insecurity. Like I would never tell if somebody came, like was clearly uncomfortable and expressed that I really don't feel comfortable with it. I would never say fuck your I would never say
That's kind
that.
of what it came out.
Well,
That's why
yeah,
I was like,
and
that's
the
why I was like, that's why I was
Because I
like, we gotta
think-
carry that all
okay,
the way through.
You have to gauge people's energy in any
Yeah.
situation. So if you can tell someone is not sure if I would be comfortable with it, this is me reassuring you, I don't really give a fuck about what you think I care about, because I
Okay.
don't care about it. Just take your shirt off. Or
Okay.
take your, you know, like
That's
that.
when I had like the way it's
Drop
written,
it,
I was just
like-
like,
So said it.
Yeah, but if somebody's like, no, I really don't want to take my socks off
Okay.
because whatever reason.
They better have a real good reason for the damn socks.
I want to know.
I don't
really
know.
want to
What-
know what the
you
socks
you know
are.
what, you
question.
guys, this is what I suggest doing. Put on socks next time.
Ew, that's just so
No,
weird.
I'm
Weird.
sorry, wear
I
socks.
wear
Wear
socks every day.
I'm
gonna
sucking the
caress
next
a man's
person with
back
socks.
with socks
On.
on. Just,
I'ma have
yeah, you
socks
like that,
on.
don't you?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
All
been
right.
talking a lot.
So I think we kind
There's
of,
a lot.
There's a lot.
Do we want to
There's
do a
a-
part 2?
No, I think
No.
Oh,
we're good.
where
I think
we
we
at?
go to social media. That was it.
How,
Yeah.
why don't we
we
talk
already
about how
talked
we
to kind
practice
of
body
about that.
positivity and close out?
Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about
Okay.
intersectionality.
Well,
Or
just
how do
talk
we
about
practice body positivity or
Yeah, so we can
Positive
close
body
out.
image.
How?
Yeah.
Okay. We're closing it out.
that. Closing it out.
so how do you practice?
Well, like I said at the self-love episode, like just taking nudes and just sitting with myself and, you know, loving myself and just and sending them to Yana or whoever is awake at that time. Really no one, it's just Yana.
Send me the nudes.
But just sitting there and having to have that real conversation with myself, like, this is your body, this is where you're at.
Yeah.
And if there are things that you want to change, then you know what you need to do. And you clearly
Right.
don't feel like doing those things, so you better shut up about your little bitch. And just, it's either you gonna do the work or you're not.
Or
And
you're
clearly
not.
I'm not, so
Agreed.
you better love where you're at.
Hey.
Yeah.
I like it.
So,
Kindling.
Kindle.
You know what? I think I'm developing a practice because I think I've like neglected body image because it was never a thing. And so like in my family, like growing up, and I've adopted this like thing of like hiding, not wanting people to look at my body because I don't want people to talk about me, like type of thing. So I'm just trying to really figure out how I'm trying to develop like a healthy body image. So I love myself. I love everything about myself. When I'm me by myself, we good. But it's like, I think there's another step that I need to figure out. So, so as far as practicing and like getting there, I think really delving deeper into the negative feelings that I have, like not just like brushing them past, but really sitting and trying to figure out, okay, well, why do you feel this way? And does this make sense? And do you want to keep these thoughts and emotions forever, or do you want to figure it out and decide what's healthy for you? Yeah.
I like it.
It's my practice.
I'm developing a practice. I'm still, I think I talk about things like in an elevated sense, but in my real life, it's always in process. It's always a journey. So I think what I've been focusing mostly on is journaling and like my words. And the thought, there's like this Christian or this verse in the Bible that says to take every thought captive. And I always like interpreted that like a captive is someone to me that you're like kidnapping. Like it's always it was always aggressive connotation. It was always like a whatever. And so I kind of changed that for myself and saying like take every thought captive with like grace and compassion. So whether or not that's for myself or for someone else, like being mindful of the words that I like, if I have a negative thought, like just taking in that moment, just stopping and going, nope, that wasn't right. Like what's actually true is this, and doing that and that has been, I think, helpful for me. And then also journaling through and figuring out like what happened when I was a kid.
Yeah.
What were those messages, and writing it down. And writing it down has been like a release. So I think journaling has been huge for me too.
I have terrible handwriting, so I never want to journal for me.
Gotta accept all parts.
Even your handwriting.
I'm like get there. No. My practices recently have been really just taking control of those things that we're saying that we have control of. And like the beginning of this year, I told myself and others multiple times, I was like, I'm gonna have a radical year. I'm gonna do some shit, like some crazy ass shit. And I want to actually love myself and dive deeper from, because I think I went through the like positive affirmations and I was like, that's cool. I would like kind of carry those with me throughout the day, but I was like, I need to dig deeper. And so I was like, I want to take control of, like, for instance, like my health. I was like, I feel like if I'm not taking care of my actual body, then I'm not loving myself. I'm not going to see myself positively, because what I don't like are things that I can change. And so it's just been doing the work and transforming through that. So the way I practice it is literally just being more mindful about like what I put in my body, what I do with my body, and I take a lot of pictures.
Pictures are like
They help, like, cause I mean, like, you guys have seen me like through this like little weight loss journey, and like there was literally until probably about like a month ago where I was just like, I knew, like, I was measuring, so I was like, I know I'm losing weight. Oh, that's kind of changing. And then I like saw pictures and I was like, bitch, we are fucking fly. What up? Like, this is crazy. And I didn't really like, although like I said, I was like, oh, I know I'm eating good. I know people are telling me this. I like looked at these pictures side by side and I was like, yeah, that's great. That shit breaks.
You have been doing a really good job.
Yeah, you
I'm trying. And you guys have supported me, sort of. No, I'm joking. You guys do.
I
Everyone's
think that's
so, no. Everyone's so mindful. Like, you guys will leave, you guys will be like, is this okay? Like, can we eat this? Can we do this? But no, you guys have been really supportive, and so that's kind of my practice, is just like being more mindful about like nutrition and health. And
have you drank your water today? That was what I was supposed to be doing.
I have not. I mean, I bought my little fake water bottle. I did not drink all that today.
I need to get new waters.
But I need to be better on my drinking my gallon. But Sylvia?
I think mine is more mental, so, or the beginning of it at least is going to be more mental, so I think I need to stop dwelling on the negative things that I've been told about myself and stop believing the negative things I say about myself or to myself.
Stop saying that.
And yeah, just stop saying that. I should probably do that too, which is really hard for me. So, but yeah, honestly, I think that's where it's going to start. I mean, there's probably going to be more eventually, but right now I think it's more mental, and I need to just do some cook.
I feel like that's like really the biggest phase.
Yeah, it's like the mental shift.
So you probably aren't that far behind as you think.
Well,
if that's what you feel like that's like the only like the biggest thing, then it's like, okay, that's
we all
the biggest
and
thing.
I was gonna say, like, you use the word stop, and I think that you can, I don't know if you can ever really stop. Like, I think that it's a process and it's a journey there, and you will get to a place where it will be, where it will probably occur less. But like, I don't know if you can stop all the random thoughts that just come in your head all the time. You can't. There's no way to completely stop that, but there is a way to.
But that's why I was going with the believing.
Yeah, just believing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think I think for all of us, like, being willing to even do this podcast and to be vulnerable about things, you know what I mean? Things to a bunch of people that like we don't know is huge. So
yeah, sorry guys for being a negative Nancy. Everybody else is all extra positive.
You're not, but you're not necessarily. You aren't being
It's authentic to like where you are, and that's okay because there are people out there who are where you are.
Yeah.
And there's people out there who are where everyone is. So I think it's good.
I don't think anyone is negative. This is a positive
body image podcast episode.
All right, but it's definitely well over an hour.
Sorry.
And I want to hang out with my friends. And
So
not
we're gonna
talk to
go.
you guys anymore. No, I'm kidding. I do just want to hang out with my friends though. So
But we love you.
yeah, we're actually gonna go get naked now. Ha.
So
Do some
anyways,
naked time.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Ooh, share.
Share
Show
your
us.
stories. Honestly,
If you
Show
want
us.
shout out to
What?
all the people who honestly do engage in conversation
Yeah.
with us because it's so important. I think it's important to have that on social media and in real life. So if you don't have, and like how we were talking about our friends, like it's cool that we get to have a community, but some people don't have that. And if you don't have it, like let us be your community and
We will
share your
talk
story
to
with
you.
us.
We're your friends.
We're your
Yes.
friends. So
We love you
You
guys.
can
Yeah.
sit with us. There's space on the couch.
There is a seat at our table.
Natalie.
what?
You close us
But
out every
I
time.
always forget.
I don't understand.
She just sitting there like, what were you paused?
I don't know. Y'all
Mannequin
go drink
challenge.
your water. Stay
Lots of
hydrated.
water.
Stay moisturized. And as always,
Stay whack. Bye.
T'Challa.
Bye.
Yeet.
T'Challa.
T'Challa.